We've got some breaking news here in New York. The CEO of a leading multi-billion-dollar health insurer.
The very public attack on Bill Thompson outside of a prominent Midtown Manhattan hotel sent the country into a nationwide manhunt.
Police say he was hit in a targeted attack outside the Hilton Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. That is a very busy commercial area.
And while half the people out there were demanding answers and wanting justice, the other half of the people following this story had declared justice was made.
Government recognized terrorism, MLK, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Luigi Mangione.
It's certainly a story that has split the country.
Luigi, you do it? And completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people.
And it seems at least half of those people following this story may get the result they want. I'll explain further. All that being said, everything's alleged. Welcome to The Point. Let's get to it because we have a Luigi update. This is the latest news out of the Daily Voice. Luigi Mangione, attorney, says DA used fake subpoena to get his medical records. Now we have a response from the DA, but honestly, are we shocked at this point given how things have went with the federal prosecutors in all these prominent cases? I mean, everyone seems like they're wanting to make a name for themselves. Everybody's trying to catch the big fish, but the caveat is everyone wants to catch the big fish until that big fish fights back. In a dramatic escalation of the high-profile passing case, the defense for Luigi Mangione is accusing Manhattan prosecutors of using a fraudulent subpoena with a fake court date to secretly obtain the 27-year-old's confidential medical records. And this isn't something that's out of the norm, especially if you follow politics and all that Russia stuff that was going on very early on during Trump's first administration. Mangione's attorney calls this a blatant abuse of process and a violation of federal privacy laws. Mangione, a Maryland native, is awaiting trial for the passing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson and is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Prosecutors allege Mangione fatally attacked Thompson outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel last December, just before the company's annual investor conference, and have characterized the attack as a politically motivated act of terrorism. He also faces federal charges tied to the same Wednesday, December 4th attack. And I'll be fair and I'll be honest, and I'll always be as honest as I can be. I don't condone these actions. I do believe there is more proof than not pointing to Mangione being the individual who committed this attack. That being said, I don't believe he deserves two separate charges for the same attack. It seems the federal government's involvement in this thing is strictly political and strictly to take care of the donors. That's just how it reads to me. I don't know if that's the truth. I'm just speculating like everything else on this channel. But when have we seen something like this happen before? It's not as if he's charged with something different federally than he is in the state of New York. Now, I'm just calling it like I see it. I may be wrong. I've been wrong before. And if you disagree, you can let me know down in the comments below. But there's more to this. Listen. In a letter to the court, defense attorney Karen Friedman Agnifilo alleges that the district attorney's office drafted a subpoena to Mangione's health insurer, falsely claiming there was a court date on May 23, 2025. They also threatened with contempt if the documents were produced. Now, as I said, the DA's office has issued a statement. We'll get to that in a second, but let's wrap this article up. Instead of having the insurer deliver the records to the court as required by law, prosecutors allegedly instructed the insurer to send them directly to the DA's office, intentionally bypassing both the court and defense counsel. Now, I don't want to say this was done intentionally. I'm not implying this was done intentionally, but let's also not pretend that this hasn't been done in the past. Several very high-profile cases in the past have seen situations like this happen. Situations where the DA says, well, this wasn't evidence and this wasn't evidence. This isn't exculpatory. This had nothing to do with the charges. This has nothing to do with the trial. And my statement to all that's the same. If you're a prosecutor, prosecute the case. Do it once, do it right, do it within the law. But you don't dictate what is and isn't evidence. You don't dictate what is and isn't exculpatory. You gather all this stuff. You determine what you want to use as evidence. The defense gathers all this stuff, they determine what they want to use as evidence, and then it goes before a judge. And if they're intentionally trying to bypass the law or skirt some sort of process, this may be another situation where the federal government screwed up again. I mean, it was obvious Diddy was guilty of all sorts of crimes except it wasn't a RICO. The way they charged that case was absolute nonsense. It was a waste of taxpayer time and money. But once again, everybody wants to hook the big fish until that big fish starts to fight. Agnifilo argues that the DA's office not only violated Mangione's rights under the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, but also his doctor-patient privilege by reviewing more than 120 pages of confidential medical records. And if all what she's saying is true, she's 100% correct. If that subpoena wasn't legitimate, she's 100% correct. And there is a scenario here at this particular moment, if all this does go through, that a large chunk of evidence could be thrown out of the trial, which means we'd then be in a situation where Luigi gets away with passing away another individual. I understand the politics behind the discussion. We're going to avoid that as best as possible to be fair and objective. I'm not justifying anything that corporate America does, but also two wrongs don't make a right. It's just my stance. The defense claims the prosecution's actions were part of a pattern of misconduct, including a previous incident in which prosecutors improperly listened to an attorney-client phone call and failed to redact sensitive personal information from court filings. And we've heard them do that before. This will not be the last time. It'll happen again. And once again, if the state is doing these things, they're setting themselves up for failure. I mean, it's already nonsense, in my opinion, the federal and government's involved in a state's case. It is what it is, though. The world will move the way the world's going to move. You're not going to get any change in that department until you change how you vote. But we've had federal prosecutors in the past come under fire and lose their jobs. I understand politics is involved in some of that, but it's not involved in all of it. People are doing some shady things within our judicial system. The whole point of our judicial system is to give everybody a fair shake. The problem in this particular situation is Luigi's family's got money. They're going to be able to fight this like Diddy did. And if the state's not going to cross their T's and dot their I's, then I bet my bottom dollar Luigi walks away from this. The defense is now seeking a full evidentiary hearing and sanctions, including possible dismissal of charges or barring prosecutors from using the medical records. Had they followed proper procedures required by law, this grievous error would never have happened, Agnifilo wrote, calling for the court to uncover the extent of the alleged violations and to hold the DA's office accountable. Mangione has pled not guilty to all charges. And yes, I'll agree with what she said right there. If the state's not going to do what they're supposed to do within the law, then all this should go. Quite possibly, a charge is dropped altogether. That's just the price you pay for stupidity. But also, let's keep in mind, this isn't your everyday common defense attorney. She demands a high price because she deserves a high price because she's going to find anything and everything that she can, and she's going to turn an anthill into a mountain. And we'll just have to see what the judge does in this particular situation. Just because a defense attorney says X, Y, and Z happened, and this is the result that needs to follow it because of what happened, that doesn't always make it true. There's two sides to the story here. And speaking of those two sides, the DA has given a statement on this. And this is from CBS News. Sources in the Manhattan DA's office say it requested limited information, but the insurer sent them additional materials in error, and that they deleted those materials as soon as they became aware of them. Now, I'm as fair and open in these discussions as I can be, and I can just imagine a scenario where there was some sort of new age Gen Z snowflake sitting in front of their computer doing their job, and they come across this email. And that email says, you better give us X, Y, and Z or you could face criminal charges. And they have a full-blown panic attack because they don't know how to deal with anything stressful and they oversend stuff. And now we're in the situation we're in because the state is saying, yes, we got it, but we deleted it. It wasn't our fault. It was somebody else's. And the defense is saying, nah, hold on a second. You bypassed the system. So now we're in this situation and we're going to address it. And the crap situation in all this is on this channel, we're just out for justice. We're out for justice because everybody deserves it. It just has to be done right. And heads are going to absolutely roll if we end up in a situation where this case is dismissed over somebody's blunder. I mean, federal prosecutors in New York are already taking L's faster than they can store them. They don't deserve any more egg on their face, and it certainly looks like eggs are being thrown. In terms of public opinion, the general population, mostly in the Northeast, at least that's how it seems to me, but those people are already against them. To them, Luigi's a hero. To them, corporate America is evil. They deserve to be punished. They should be punished. But that's not how it works in a society. Certainly not a functioning society. The irony here is if corporate America went away, half these people would be in a panic attack because not a single one of them knows how to plant a tomato. And in a lot of ways, it just seems like this whole world's backwards. But we'll see how this plays out. This is absolutely a shocking update in my opinion, and it's certainly something worth talking about. But if you enjoy this and a more fair, open conversation, maybe check one of these videos out. Y'all be safe now.
Luigi Mangione.